Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you are doing well. Welcome to the latest video here on Newcastle Fans TV. Today, we're going to be looking at a couple of things. We're going to be taking a look at Arsenal because that's who we're playing tomorrow. And of course, we'll be taking a look at what Jason Tindall has said in his press conference today. So we'll have team news. But the biggest news of them all, people. So Eddie Howe is back in the dugout when he'll be down there at the Emirates. I'm absolutely buzzing about that. We'll all give him a massive, massive reception the way end. So, yeah, we're looking forward to that. I can't wait for it. Looking forward to seeing Eddie Howe in the flesh. But, yeah, welcome to the latest video. If you can smash that like, we'll be on live for maybe 20 minutes or so, maybe longer, depending on if you guys have any questions about team news or the Arsenal game. Get them in. Please do. We'll read them out very, very shortly. Of course, members get so much more. But it is Black Friday, if you haven't noticed. You might have seen it all over the internet. You cannot escape it. And our new sponsors today, Boohoo Man, have a fantastic offer in the top of the description. They have some of their offers of up to 99% off over hundreds of lines. They're proudly sponsoring us. Have a look at the description if you want to get yourself a bargain or Christmas is coming up. It's fantastic for a loved one. Maybe treat yourself. Link in the description for that. Absolutely wonderful. So thank you very much to Boohoo Man today. So thank you for sponsoring us. But we're going to crack on. And we're going to first take a look at Arsenal, and then we'll talk more about Newcastle, because Arsenal, of course, a little bit indifferent start, shall we say, at the start of the season, where they were bottom of the league. They were actually behind us, and they've climbed the table, haven't they? And yes, I know they've got walloped off Liverpool recently, but I think most, in fact, 99% of Arsenal fans would surely take fifth place after 3 games this season when they're bottom of the league, and they're in the mix, you know, to possibly get Champions League football. The thing is with Arsenal, you don't know what Arsenal side you're gonna get. Sometimes they look incredible, but other times they look like they're just an average side. So I think Arteta, has he done a good job at Arsenal? He has won them the FA Cup. There are some people who want Arteta out. He's not qualified for the job. But if Arsenal want to compete to the very highest caliber, for me, they need a better manager. And that goes the same with Manchester United, how they fired Solskjaer. If Arsenal, can a manager get more out of this Arsenal side? Possibly. We don't know that. It might be easier to say that in hindsight. But if Arsenal want to be amongst the big boys challenging, they need a lot of investment, first of all, and possibly a new manager. But at the moment, where Arsenal are, I think their aim for this season is 100% to get into that top 4, and that'll be their aim as well. Is Miggy playing, says Conrad. Arsenal's defense is scared of him when he attacks the space. I would like to think so, because Miggy came off the bench and he's had another week. Of course, we'll talk more about Newcastle very shortly, and let's hope Newcastle are going to smash Arsenal as well. Excuse me. Right, we're staying on the Arsenal subject for the time being, because as I was saying, Arsenal are a little bit indifferent, aren't they, at the minute? But let's take a look at their form, how they're getting on. So I've mentioned already their defense, their defeat against Liverpool 4-0 didn't go down well. It was probably their big test for a while, because they've been on a fantastic run. You can see previous results there: the Watford win, Leicester away is a great win, Leeds, Villa, Palace, and it goes back. I think it stretches back up to 10 games. So they're on a fantastic run until Liverpool crashed them down back to earth. And is it a good time to play them? Are they hungry? I think if a team's been battered, I always think I'm in the mindset that it's good to play them at this stage. I wouldn't want to play Arsenal if they're in a run of form. I'd rather play a team that's come off a heavy defeat or a defeat to knock their confidence down, and Newcastle can pick it up. So I'm one of those people that believes that team gets beat, that's the team. Like Arsenal be thinking the same about us. They'll be looking at us thinking they haven't won a game all season. What a time to bounce back after the Liverpool game. It's the same back way. It's the same both ways. But Eddie Howe and Jason Tindall and Graham Jones be looking at this Arsenal side and thinking, well, wait a minute, they've been on a great run. They've just been battered 4-0. We're scoring more goals as the positives. I'm trying to focus on the positives here. We're scoring a lot of goals. This is a team that we could potentially get at. I know we don't have a great record down in the Emirates, but it depends what Arsenal side turn up on the day. That's what I think this game will come down. I think Newcastle can score 1 or 2 goals, but defensively behind we're all over the place at the minute. So could we come down to not us? It could be down to how Arsenal shape up. Speaking of shape up, this is according to WhoScored.com. Granit Xhaka is out of the game. So this is what they're predicting. They're predicting it'll be Ramsdale in goal, and then you've got Tomiyasu at right back, and then you've got Ben White, Gabriel, and Tierney is your left back. So there's your back 4, and then you'll have Partey and Lokonga will come in for Xhaka, and then you'll have Saka and Smith Rowe, who's obviously just picked up his first England cap recently, and Lacazette kind of playing behind Aubameyang. Now obviously they can alternate those three behind the striker, because Saka can come over to the left, Smith Rowe can drop over as well. So you might see that during the game if Arsenal are struggling, but that's what who scored think. And if I look at that team and think, right, where can Newcastle target? For me, I think Kieran Tierney is a great defender and also going forward. So I would personally switch this to the other flank, which is the right back Tomiyasu, who will be coming up against, I would think, Alan Saint-Maximin on that left side. You would think so. And that'll be a real tough ask for him. And I also think that if it's Saka's playing in front of him, Saka's probably going to have to double up, because ASM will be a threat for them without shadow of a doubt. I think that's somewhere where we can target. Arsenal, of course, nice pretty football on the ball. I think for me, same as last week, I want to say Jonjo Shelvey high pressing in the face, and he was spraying the balls. It was a much better performance by Jonjo Shelvey. I think those midfield two, Party for me still needs to go up another level. There was big hype about him when he came from Atletico. For me, I think he still needs to prove a lot of Arsenal fans in the Premier League that he is the man. For me, he's not. I think there's a possibly weakness there. Aubameyang, people might say he's gone off form, but the lad is joint top scorer with Smith Rowe with 4 goals in the Premier League this season, so he is still a threat. He loves a goal against Newcastle. He's a massive threat against her, so we do have to keep an eye out for them. And our defence is all over the place at the minute, and I am a bit worried that we will concede 1 or 2, but again, it's down to Arsenal's defence. I don't think they're great either. I think they're centre-back. I know they've spent a lot of money on Ben White, but I still think there's problems in the Arsenal defence and protection in front of them as well. I think there is a goal or 2, as I say, for Newcastle. We've got a couple of comments coming in here as well. Truls has gone out to say, rather have Fraser's cross and passing foot in there than put Almiron on at 60 minutes. Yeah, because Fraser came off the bench, made an impact, and he set up ESM last time out as well. And Conrad's gone out and say, we just have to do what Liverpool done because they can't play from the 5-yard line. Very few teams do this properly. It's a good shout, that. Conrad, would you play high pressing then? Was that what you would do in the faces? Is that what you would do and risk what's behind you? Would you do that? Let me know, please. We'll move on to... and by the way, if you haven't liked the video, we'll just pause for a minute. Have you liked the video? Howe? Hit that like, man. Hit it. Thank you. Right, we'll move on to Newcastle. Today, what was the big news is Eddie Howe, isn't it? I'm delighted, absolutely delighted that Eddie Howe is back. He's going to be in the dugout. Of course, he missed last week's game. It was just literally on the eve one. It was around about this time last week, coming up to tea time, that Eddie Howe found out that he tested positive for COVID. He's been fine. I don't think he's got any symptoms. So he's back in the dugout. It's been past a week now. So I think that'll give the lads a massive boost. And I'll be at the way end. I'm going down at daft o'clock. I'm setting off around about 4 in the morning because I've got a travel bed as well in the back of my car. So I'll have a quick couple of hours nap once I'm in London and then jump on the tube. That's my plan, because coming back the same day with the game finishing at 2:30. But the way end will give a massive raptures of applause and singing his name. So I'm really looking forward to that. It'll be all on the match vlog for you, so you'll see all the action of all that. But of course, Jason Tindall had the team today. Not the team, the press conference today. And he's gone on to say about Eddie Howe, you want your manager here with you. We've missed him as a group of staff, and I'm sure the players have missed him seeing him at the training ground. We're certainly looking forward to having him back. And he's mentioned just there the training ground, because Eddie Howe's been stuck in a hotel, probably the Hilton. He's been stuck in, or the Cop Phone. He's been stuck in a hotel all week, but he's been sent the training sessions. So they've all been recorded, and he's been sent a full copy of the training sessions on each one. And he's still doing and setting the training for the rest of the coaching staff and the players. So Jonjo Shelvey was talking about it the other day, that he was knackered the first week because he was shattered. He was going to bed at 8 o'clock because he was worked harder. And that goes to show you what was happening under the previous regime under Bruce, where they would only work a few hours a day and they would only work part-time effectively during the week. So great that Eddie Howe's back, a massive influence in that dressing room. And Tyndall also went on to say that Eddie's been, as I mentioned, Eddie's been seen training every day. We film it, and that'll be sent to him in the afternoon to review it back, as well as we as the coaches, and then we'll feed back what's necessary for the players the following day. So that's just basically echoing what I've just been saying there about it. A couple of comments come in. We'll just quickly pause there. Benny's gone out to say congratulations on the 30k. You've had at least one Israel. Thank you very much, Benny. Yeah, big achievement for us as well. Conrad's answering me question back to him when I asked him about. No, he hasn't. I'll tell a lie. I ignore that. He hasn't. David's gone out and say he'll set up 4-3-3, and Trolls has went out and say we'll have to play our strengths, and there's no doubt that we are the strongest in attack. We are strong in attack, definitely as well. Paddy, hello, how are you? Hope you're doing well, pal. We'll move on to the next bit. It's just as I mentioned, Shelby talking about the demand of the squad here, and Tyndall's gone on to say today, the very talented squad. We were encouraged by the performance against Brentford. The first 4 or 5 days, perhaps the players felt our demands and a bit the day afterwards, but they've now adapted and look a lot better, and they're looking good in training. So that'll be the fitness levels. I'm expecting that against Arsenal to go up a little bit of a notch as well. I'm expecting more high pressing. I don't think the whole team need to do that, but I don't want to see the old Newcastle just park the bus and think, you have it, go and play Arsenal, because they'll just rip us apart. Whatever you think of this Arsenal side, if you do that, they will rip us apart. And they'll score 1 or 2 goals. And it doesn't matter which side you play in the Premier League, you're asking for trouble. And they've got quality in the final third. Defensively, as I say earlier, I think that's where we can target Arsenal. Probably more so playing a little bit on the counter. Not as deep as what Steve Bruce used to do, man, because I don't want to say negative football. And Jason Tyndall's gone out and say that we're going to go to the Emirates to win. And just finding the balance, he's gone out and saying we work on different aspects of our game every day. It's what we don't want to do is just prioritise defending and lose sight of our offensive play. We know we need to get better defensively, but we need to get the balance right in all areas. And for me, that's fine. That's perfectly reasonable that we look good going forward, which you expected from an Eddie Howe team. But defensively, for me, I would take one of those 2 people out. I think the captain is all over the place at the minute. And you ask yourself the question, and Kieran Clark's another one. Kieran Clark doesn't look like the player he has been for Newcastle. And then I was very worried when we signed Kieran Clark originally back from Aston Villa. But he's been absolutely outstanding apart from this season. So if it's not, if for me, if you're playing 3 at the back with Fabian Schär, I can get that because he can bring the ball out. But for me, you've got to take either two of Clark and Lascelles out, or one of them at least. And for me, I'll probably bring Fernandes back in. And Fernandes hasn't been seen for a few weeks now. He hasn't even made the bench. But at least you know what you get with Fernandes. It's organisation. It's no nonsense. It's very, very rare that he does an error. It's very rare. So for me, and when I say error, I'm talking positionally sense as well. I think Lascelles and Clark defensively, positionally, are a little bit all over the place in terms of when a cross comes in and mark and stuff like that. I'd rather have Fernandes there. He's more safe for me. So let me know what your views agree on that as well. Lascelles, Clark out. Mark's just echoed that as well. Lewis, a member, thank you very much, pal. We have to play Martin to see a better chance. I was just about to come on to Dubravka. I'm holding off. And afternoon all. I hope you're all blessed. Let's hope we can finally get our first win of the season. He'll play a 3-4-2-1 personally. And UK Jack's gone out to say, I can't see Eddie setting up to defend. I can't either, but I think we will play on the counter, but not as deep as what we have been under Bruce. There you go. We may play more defensive than usual, but we'll still carry a threat going forward. Yeah, I totally agree on that. Totally agree. Love that JT said that we're going to go Arsenal and win the game. Never got that from Bruce. Yeah, because Bruce will say, we'll give it a go, we'll have a crack, and it just doesn't fill you with any confidence, does it, either? Irish Tsunami, hope you're doing well. Don't think the wing backs are doing it for us as well. Yeah, Matt Ritchie. I'll talk about Matt Ritchie and Jacob Murphy now. If those 2 are going to be the 2 for me, Matt Ritchie. The thing is with Ritchie, offensively, he's very, very good because he gets a lot of crosses in, gets a lot of high balls in. He gets up the byline. Doesn't have the pace of what he does in behind though, but defensively in position. I talked about it just with the centre backs positionally. Matt Ritchie's all over the place. There's been so many goals coming from that right side, and he's been a fault for quite a few. For me, maybe you want to change that and put Jamal Lewis. I mean, what's the lad got to do to get a game? And then Jacob Murphy defensively, he was a fault for Rico Henry scoring the other day. That was his man, basic defending. And you ask yourself, if that's Manquillo, would that be the same? Probably not. But might see changes there. But I think the Dubravka one is the one that a lot of fans want to see, because I've said this to the lads and on FTV now, WhatsApp, I said, has any of our goalkeepers this season actually saved with any points? Because normally during the season, over the course of 38 games, your goalkeeper would win you 6 points, 7 points, 8 points. I don't think Woodman or Darlow have won us any points at all. They haven't even put in. And it's not so much having a pop at them, but none of them have, like, especially Darlow. Because remember, Darlow was like man of the match, constantly. And he was performing miracles. And he hasn't even done that this season. He hasn't picked up man of the match. He hasn't saved us. He hasn't won more point or nothing. So for me, I think it's right to change the goalkeeper. I think Martin Dubravka for me has to come in. I don't think Darlow's a bad goalkeeper, but I just think Dubravka's a notch higher than him. Is there much in it? I think Dubravka does make more errors than Darlow, although Darlow made one last game out. But I think Dubravka would win you more games or pick up more points than what Darlow would. Even though Darlow was a sensational last season, Darlow for me isn't cutting it out this season. I think he's dropped a little bit, and he was on the talk of the cusp of the England squad last season. Dubravka for me has to come in. He's a leader as well in the dressing room. He's a talker as well. You see him barking out instructions. You don't really see that with Darlow. So for me, Martin Dubravka has to come in for me 100%. I agree with what you are saying on there. Dubravka will bring the look again, like last time, says Connor as well. Irish goes on to say, totally agree with the wing back. Pace is essential. Every attacking wide has pace. Richie will struggle every time. Richie can't get defensively. It's just all over the place. It's going to say we're not playing wing backs with three in defence. Yeah, agree. Lewis and Manquillo, Fernandez and Shea as well. Some lad down there's commented, Johnny there. Hello, Johnny. With 3 games in a week, I wouldn't be surprised if there's changes with 2 huge games at St James's Park. Yeah, expect to see that. Maybe the thing is the Norwich game's a bigger game for me than what Arsenal is, but I think Eddie Howe will try and manage the squad as best as he can. Jody, afternoonly. Yeah, I hope you're okay. Dubravka's needed. I'm fine, thank you very much. Totally agree. Darlow can't boss the defence. We've still got a few more rattle through as well. He's obviously gone on Tyndall's, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, going on to say that he's going to go to the Arsenal game. We're going to Arsenal to win. We're not going to park the bus. I do think we'll play a little bit more defensive than what we would. I say that funny enough, more than last week because we're the away team. I think we will play on the counter, but nowhere near as deep as what we used to. But Tyndall goes on to say we're aware of the strengths they're going to have, but ultimately we're going to Arsenal to win the game. See, I love that. I love that mentality. Love that mentality. Our aim is to go there, nullify their strengths, which I feel is their attack, and then the best we can. But ultimately, we've got to go and score goals to give us the best chance of winning the game. So I think he's mentioned about finding the balance there. So as I say, it's just that mindset of going to win the game. It's just refreshing to hear. Whether we don't win the game or not, it still gives the fans and the players a lot of confidence that your management is saying, right, we're planning to win the game. We're not planning to pick up a point and hope for the best. But injury news is no Paul Dummett as to be expected, and Dwight Gale is struggling at the moment, so we're not expected to sit. I mean, barely gets a kick anyway, but Dwight Gale's was feeling his hamstring slightly, so that's one that'll be assessed today. Other than that, there's been no new injury concerns for us with the training session still to do today. So Dwight Gale is struggling. Probably I would expect him not to make it. Even if he does, will he be used? Probably not, but it's only Paul Dummett, the other one, so Eddie Howe has a big, massive squad to choose from, trying to keep the squad happy. Johnny just mentioned in the chat there before, we've got Norwich coming up, which is a bigger game, and then the bigger one next weekend as well. So we've got 2 teams coming up after the Arsenal one, which we really need to start winning. And we'll come up with the last story before I come to your chat as Elliot Anderson. If you follow us on NFTV Extra and with Twitter, NFTV Media, we talk a lot about the under-23s and the women's. And Elliot Anderson bagged in a hat-trick the other day. One of them was apparently yes, but he's obviously certainly took the notice of the management team, and Tyndall's gone out and say he's certainly a bright talent from what we've seen on the training ground. He's got very good potential. There's a lot of competition in the attacking areas, but so far, what we've seen of Elliot, he's shown really good signs for the future. Of course, obviously, he is at the moment the breakthrough. Well, we say a breakthrough, hasn't meant put his place on the squad yet, but he's on the cusp. And there's another lad, Dylan Stevenson, banging in the goals left, right, centre on the under-23s. But the very impressive Elliot Anderson, would he make it? Obviously, did make his debut against Arsenal last season, so might squeeze on the bench. But I probably think that'll be the most for Elliot Anderson. I think with the changes as well, I don't think there'll be huge amounts of changes. For me personally, Joe Willock will want to go because it's against his old club, so he can't play. He'd be desperate to score Joe Willock. Keep him in. Shelby deserves his place after last week. I don't think the front 3 will change. I think Joe Linton was superb up until the 70th minute. Let one down with that finish. Wilson and ESM will play, we know that, but it's the defence for me. I'll probably take out a couple of the centre-backs if it was my choice and change the goalkeeper. Can he change all of the defence? That's probably asking a lot. It's not Football Manager where you can just change your wing backs and change your 2 centre backs and your goalkeeper. I don't think that'll happen, but I'll probably expect one of the centre backs and at least the goalkeeper to change as well. Let's go through some of your comments before we wrap up. Is Manquillo injured or something? Because I actually think he's decent going forward and defending. I think Murphy pulls out a lot and stands off. No, he's available. He is available. Should tell Gale in January. Wouldn't be surprised if he leaves with a few wins before January window. and we look attractive, potentially incoming players as well. We've got to climb the table. We've got to as well. Arsenal have a good defence. Can we come up with a goal against them? Do you reckon they've got a good defence? I'm not convinced. I don't think they've got great protection. What's the story of Munoz? How's he getting on? I haven't heard from much. He's injured. That's basically why he's not playing. Santiago Munoz is injured. Jules has literally just said he's injured. And Connor's gone to say, well, if there's any team allow us for a first win, it's Arsenal. Exactly. You didn't know what sides that you're going to get. I think with Newcastle, we know that we'll be playing on the counter. That's how I feel. And we'll be pushing up with pace. I don't think it'll be defensive as I say with Bruce, but with Arsenal, you just don't know what you're going to get with them, do you? You don't know whether they're going to play off the park or crumble and let 2 or 3 goals in. You just didn't get it, do you? We're going to wrap up now. If you could smash that like button, we've still got plenty of videos. I think Carl might be doing one tonight about the Predicted 11. I think you may be doing that. I've got the drive down for the middle of the night, so I'm leaving 4 a.m. And then we've got loads of videos from the Emirates. I think it's just me who's at the Emirates, but I'll be bringing all the content. We've got the live stuff with Steve as well. And a big shout out as well to Boohoo Man. As I say, it is Black Friday. So if you want to get yourself a good deal, get some new clothes. Maybe it's for yourself, a brother, dad, loved one, whoever. Links in the top of the description. They have absolutely ridiculous offers on a day. I've just had a little spy. Speaking of that, Carl has a massive basket full of Boohoo Man stuff. That's how much Carl likes it. Yeah. So that is it, everybody. Hope you enjoy the preview, and we'll see you all at the Emirates. Ta-da.